Hi YouTube. I'll just talk a little bit. I'm waiting for I've got some chicken in the crock pot. I'm waiting for that to fall off the bones, and then I've got some vegetables ready, and I'm gonna make a chicken and rice soup and go out and do some more work on that kitty house. So um I just thought I'd say hello really quick. And I haven't heard anything from the Monograph channel on that public service announcement that he was, or not public service, excuse me, PFD that was filed by President Trump and amended by Biden. So I think he probably hasn't had time to look into it. I'm not quite sure. So if and when I do hear something more, like I say, I'll let you know. Um, Doug was talking about them shipping containers and the ones that are coming from like China or wherever. He mentioned a few countries, and that it's happening all over the world, not just in our ports. That uh, he thinks that, of course, the food's going to be spoiled in whichever ones that are there, but he thinks that they could be looking for human trafficking going on, and that's why the holdup with everything. So I don't know on that too. If I hear any more, I'll let you know. So, um, yeah, it's goofy times we're living in. A lot of crazy, bad stuff happening, and a lot of good stuff too. Um, like we're all making new friends and finding out who's loyal in life and who's not. And, that's a good thing. Over on Facebook today, I had a friend of mine express concern because they weren't feeling so well, and they're like, hey, I hate to complain in front of you, you know, like I'm so good or something. They don't want to complain in front of me. And I'm like, no, I want to see the real you. I'd rather hear the real instead of seeing a fake smile. I said, we all have our bad days, and we all, feel a little blue once in a while. And, um, that's a natural thing. And, you know, just so they wouldn't feel bad, because this is a really nice person. And um, it's a he that calls himself a she, and or whatever, you know. But I care about this person, and even with how strongly I feel about the transgender stuff going on, I am not out to hurt people. Unless I get attacked first, I usually don't say a word, and I won't, you know. But going out in front of children and pushing it the way they're pushing it, that's absolute no no in my books, and I'm not going to sit there like trying to teach it in the schools and um, with the toys or the clothes. Or, I mean, the clothes might be one thing, um, maybe. You know, like I say, I've been, excuse me, I've been worked in areas in my life like construction where, you know, feminine clothes weren't really. And I didn't like working around the guys, but it's all I could find at that time to make money, to make my world go around. You know, I would have much rather done something more suitable to my femininity, you know. And it does make my heart sad that I was put in that position. I used to get really angry about it, especially with my ex, because he uh, wasn't as masculine as I would have wanted my other half to be. So enough. Enough of that. But yeah, we all have our, I mean, you cannot stay positive every single day, all day long. If you do, you're inhuman. And if you go out there pretending you do to everybody else, especially your friends, they're going to look at you like, um, maybe I don't even want to know this person because, wow, their life's so happy all the time. If I express any of my sadness from my life, um, they're gonna look down on me or something. It's like, no, there's too much of that crap in this world. If you're having a bad day, I really do want to know you're having a bad day. He said, maybe that's why people don't ask me how I am a lot. And I wrote to him, I said, I don't ask you how you are because I already know when you're not feeling good, you know? So, yeah, he knows. He knows I care. So, yeah. But it does seem, and I'm going to say it like it is, that my friends that are having gender confusion are very confused right now, even more than ever. I was going to say normal, but hey, um, what's normal for me may not be normal for them. And then we were playing this game like BAM or WoW or one of them where it predicts or tells you, about yourself. And he asked Santa what he was going to get for Christmas, and Santa told him that he wasn't going to get anything because he's been too naughty this year. So I tried it, and then I posted what it said about me, that I'm not going to need anything because I'm going to be a millionaire. And Doug and I both knew that we would somehow have more money in the end part of our lives than we would um, getting there. So, you know, and he said, if you do, he said, would you give me a loan? And I'm like, I'll just give you. Or he said, when we meet here in our next lives, and I'm like, unless I can rid the world of all the evil, I don't want to be back here again. I said, but if I do, I said, I'll just give you some, Why loan it when I can just give it, I don't, if I'm rich, why would I need it, Just to take care of myself or people that I care about. That's about it. I always wished I had a lot of money so I could just walk around making people happy all day, you know, and not ask for nothing. Just do something and go like sneak in and sneak out, that would be fun. I would love that. You know, I've always dreamt of like Elvis did one time, pulled up and gave somebody a car and the registration papers and everything and just left. And I see moms walking with their little kids, and the kids are crying, and mom looks like she's about to cry. She looks like she's weathered worse than any storm could beat on her. It's like I just wished. And I seen this one woman and her kids sitting on a curb one time eating snacks, like I've done so many times, like on the steps or in a park or something with their kids when you're walking, that I could just go and say, here's some keys. Bye. Have a good day. Hey, what's your name? I love you. Have a nice day. That would be so fun. And then I'd say my name, you know. But I guess I would have to go back and say my name and ask them theirs and then leave if that were the case. So I don't know. But wouldn't that be cool? That would be so much fun if I could just spend the rest of my life doing that. That would be amazing, you know. So, really, if I lived in the cities, I wouldn't be probably taking care of kitties. I'd be making sandwiches and taking them down to the worst parts of town, you know. And probably just take a couple loaves of bread every day, if I'm not working every day. and just make peanut butter and jellies or whatever I had and just take and hand them out. Something like that. But I might be able to do something, in the future. Or even when I do get older, if I'm like near a senior center or something, just to go and help out, or, a food shelf. I've helped out in food shelves before. That's, you know, cool. So, yeah, just, uh, just to be active in my community. So, yeah, anyway. Yeah, one time my youngest son and I were just walking along in town, and we didn't have a vehicle, but we saw that the food shelf was unloading a great big old truck, and the woman did look tired. There was a couple of women, and John and I just started helping them, and they were so grateful. It's like, yeah, it's some days, even if you're helping, it gets hard, and I know that. You know, I used to volunteer at retirement homes too when I was a kid, reading to them and playing bingo and spending time with them, because a lot of them don't have family that come to visit them. And I hope I'm never in that position, but I'm in that position right now. So I don't have any family, you know. But anyway, to speak of, um, not really. But anyway, yeah, it gets a little hard some days, and I think this friend of mine is awful lonely like that sometimes, and I think a lot of us are. You can be in a crowd and feel absolutely lonely. So, yeah, I know. I'm sure some of you live with other people too and can still feel lonely at times. There's a hole in our heart that's there, that we put God in our heart, and if we don't have that, we'd probably go crazy. You know, it's a major deal. You know. So my sweet friend off of Facebook, or friends, but who I'm talking to in particular, if you're watching this, don't feel bad, because I have my bad days. I know I don't talk about, maybe, well, if you watch my videos, you probably know more of what saddens my heart, or what's going on, or even through my memes, or maybe I just come off like I'm very, very strong, which I am. But some days it's not easy, and trust me, on my days it's all I can do to not cry all day long. I could easily, in fact, there's times when I call I'm leaking out. I might be sleeping and I'll be crying in my sleep, or I'll wake up and I'm crying. I'm like, phew. Now that's a rough one, to wake up crying, because especially if you don't know why or what made you cry, in a nightmare or a dream, something like that. So yeah, it's it's not that and I really, really, and I saw a post, and it is true. Nobody wants somebody around that's negative all the time, or has something negative to say all the time. But occasionally, it's a human response. And if there's a lot of bad going on in your life, there's no other way to express it besides sounding negative. And so if somebody's just happy go lucky and nothing horrid is happening in their lives, well, they wouldn't have a reason to be negative, and probably wouldn't want to listen to somebody else's sorrow as well. I'm not like that. I really will listen to what people have to say and their sorrows, and then I'll try and cheer them up. you know, that's um that's how I'm wired, you know. Excuse me. Yeah. It was kind of odd yesterday. Well, not odd, but normal. Normal for the people around the lake. When I lived on the lake, the people in the Lake Association, I call them Sodom and Gomorrah Lake Associations because that's what they're like. Anyone I've ever um, encountered, they were always after me to come to their meetings and go out on their pontoons and party with them. And um, I didn't join in with their games like that. And so I was kind of ostracized. Well, our friend over on the lake, he's roofing his house right now, and he's a Christian. And another friend of his was up on the roof, and he heard in exchange that Doug had stopped over to see how he was doing. His mother had just died a few weeks back here, so um, and these neighbor guys, Dave wasn't there right that second. And these neighbor guys started talking to Doug, and the one had said that he was interested in, he said, getting some work done. And another guy, well, so that guy, uh, Doug's talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I can work in your shop for $40 an hour. And Doug's like, I'm the only one that works in my shop. I'm like, yeah, if somebody was going to work in there, it'd be me. And I don't even do that. And $40 an hour? Whatever. Go get a job. That's how we built our shop and all the tools in there. We worked. so we could we worked so we could work, you know. But yeah, so anyway, these two guys, and the ones there, one is on one side of our friend in the neighborhood, and the others on the other side. They started talking smack about Dave, and Doug's like, just listening, and said, well, you do know he's a friend of mine. And they just kept talking, you know. And so Doug went and told Dave what they had said, that they were going to try and get him out of there and call the EPA for the mess that was on the ground from the roofing, which and then Dave confronted the guy and said, well, I could call the EPA because your septic is illegal. So in other words, it's draining into the lake. Yeah, these people are truly assholes. I know them because I've lived around here a long time and worked with a lot of them. And so Dave and him were like yelling at each other, and Dave's a really big guy, and he's not violent, but he's loud even when he's not yelling. So I can just imagine how that went down. And like I told Doug, he probably needed to yell at the guy, you know, get some frustration out. His mom just died, and then this dude's like saying that, trying to get his property because it's the best property on the lake. It's an old farm in a bay, and it's got the best fishing area, the best beach area, everything, and lots of land with a creek running through it into the lake. And so, yeah, they won because it's $1 million property, you know. But Dave's mom and dad, his mom was a nurse and his dad farmed that land, and there's no way. And then he told Dave that Dave's older brother, who is an attorney, had gotten a hold of him and said that, yeah, he's got to be out of there by February. And that all was a lie. And so Dave kind of came unglued on him. And I told Doug that's good because he probably needed to yell at somebody, especially a creep like that, you know? So, yeah, that's terrible. And besides that, they know um, See, Dave used to have a construction company and own all kinds of big, like earth movers and cats, and had all kinds of employees and all that. And somebody shot him in his head and he ended up handicapped. So, um, he's still a really hard worker. Even when his hole was in his head, he had a band aid on his head, right in his third eye, just right there. Um, he still was working, doing all he could to keep his mother's house from being sold and going under. And that's all he's been doing is redoing everything to keep it in the family. And he's really scrapping metal, whatever it took to make his world go around. And he gets some disability, but not enough to really even pay the property taxes. So he's having a hard time. So anyway, Doug popped in to see how he was doing, and I'm glad he did because Dave wouldn't have known how. He said, well, he knew even for the last 20 years that they were trying to get his mother out of there too, and they never could do it. So, um, yeah. And even Dave yelling at people isn't as violent as somebody that's evil, you know. So, and the thing about it was, they probably, I'll light another cigarette and talk to you. They probably wouldn't have even had that encounter. But Dave and Doug and this other guy came down off the roof, and they were all out in the yard talking. And the one neighbor was so nosy, the one that had said that, he came out and had to take his garbage out while the men were out there talking. And that's when Dave said something to him. And so the guy started kind of like swearing at Dave, and then Dave's like, whoa. I've heard Doug and Dave get into it before, but not nothing vile or horrible or anything like that. And then after their argument, Doug hugged him and he said, I love you. He said, you're my friend. I love you. He's like, I love you too. And they hugged, it's like, yes. So, yeah, it wasn't anything really violent. They just had somewhat of a disagreement. And really a misunderstanding was more like it. So, what it is our friend will bring some other people around, and then stuff would end up missing. And we didn't want to think Dave took anything, and I still hope he didn't, but stuff like that. But we just told him, just don't bring anybody over here that we don't know, because, yeah. So, yeah, we can't have people, especially when you're busy and you can't watch stuff, and one little tool, like say if it's a what they call like a spanner for doing body work for working on a door of a car, or what, one little spanner could be worth like 50 $100 or more. Or like a little da you can shove in your pocket, couple 200 300 bucks, whatever. That's a pretty big deal. Or a clamp that Doug may need, or whatever. I'm just giving examples. Or sockets, those are easy to type. We had oh, I see, now I knew this tool really well too, because I had bought my dad the same Craftsman tools back in probably 1969, because I had my first job and I was able to get him a really nice Father's Day gift. So I got him these Craftsman tools, and one of them just so happened to be a shorty Phillips screwdriver with clear and blue and red on it with the white letters. And Doug knew his set because he had them for decades. And this one guy, Joel, we were working with, Doug comes up to him and he's like, hey man, that's my screwdriver. You had to have taken out of my toolbox. And dude's like, no man, I've had this for a long time. And Doug's like, almost like, think about getting, well, he could think about getting violent, but he probably wouldn't. and that's probably a very good thing. But yeah, Doug grabbed it. He said, "You know it's mine," you know. I went up there later because we all worked together. I go, "Yeah, you thief. I heard you trying to steal Doug's tools. I got my dad the same tools back in 1969. You weren't even born yet, you know." Thief. So, yeah. But, that's kind of a big deal because when you need a tool and you don't have it, it's an awfully big deal when that's what you do for a profession, you know? So, yeah, really big deal. Yeah. And then, we were talking about the tools we've had stolen from us. And right now, to this day, there's somebody in Wisconsin that took everything out of my shed when I was moving. They went there and out of my house. But like the tools, yeah, the home things, the sentimental things, those were really tough to deal with. And the tools too, because like my miter box my dad got me and my saw when I was 9, and my first hammer and little things like that, you know. Um, yeah, it bothers me. But anyway, thieves, right? Anyway, yeah. I've been a thief in my life, but I've made amends, you know. I really did, you know. So I paid my dues and never did it again. So, yeah. And when I was asked if I did it, I didn't lie about it. I think that was on the plus side because if you do something stupid and then you lie about it to compound it, that makes it way worse. I think. Why lie? If you're busted, you're busted. You might as well tell the truth, you know? So that's like a lot of this dark cabal stuff that's going on right now. They know they're busted. They know the Christ energy is coming into play, but they just won't stop with their crap, you know. And I'll repeat it. There's some people think that Christ is going to go into everybody's hearts, and that's the way it's going to be. No, there's some that will never happen. That is not who they pay allegiance to or homage. Yes, they're going to acknowledge that Christ is our King, but they're still not going to pay homage to him. They'll bow because they feel like they have to, because they won't be able to stand the pressure, literally. But they won't stop being the evil that they are. The true evil. They're demonistic. They're not human. There are bodies, vessels on this planet walking that will never come together with God. It's not allowed. And there's some people that think that people change. People do not change. If you're born with a conscience, even if you've drank it away or drugged it away or whatever, you still know you have a conscience. There's some people that never have had a conscience, and those are the ones I'm talking about. There's no coming together with that. So that's my opinion. And I've asked a lot of people their opinion on that. And I'm talking Christians that have studied the Word and know what God's telling them in their heart. I think there's some that have what I would call sympathy for the devil, but even the devil's not as stupid as they are. So, and he still will put them in their place, and there is a place for them, and that is not around the rest of us. So, I'm going to let you go on that note. That's how I feel, and um, I hope you found some kind of value in my video. I don't know how many people watch me. It's just that I've been encouraged by people that love me to not quit, that I'm good at this. I'm a natural. So naturally, I feel for myself anyway that I'm sure someday my children or my grandchildren will be watching me, and they'll be able to see how I documented my life and what's going on in the world, and just be happy to be able to see that I cared enough to document all that for them. So, um, and the people that you're my friends and you're getting to know me, I love you and thank you for being here. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.